All right, so today we are going to climb way up high into the Himalayas
Oh, yeah.
to talk about the elusive snow leopard, a truly magnificent creature.
Absolutely.
We have some excerpts today from an article titled "The Snow Leopard, a Majestic Phantom of the Mountains."
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be really cool because it not only talks about the snow leopard's incredible adaptations
Right.
to this super harsh environment that they live in up there in the Himalayas,
Hmm.
but it also talks about their cultural significance
Yeah.
and some of the challenges that they face.
It's a fascinating topic.
It really is.
For sure.
And speaking of fascinating,
Yeah.
they're called the ghosts of the mountains.
Right.
Why is that? I mean, everyone knows that they're like masters of camouflage, but
Well, yeah, they're called that because they're so elusive and they blend in so well with
yeah.
the rocky terrain. But it's not just their camouflage, it's also the habitat that makes them hard to find.
Yeah.
They live in these high-altitude regions of Central and South Asia,
Right.
specifically the alpine and subalpine zones,
Oh, wow.
between 3,000 and 5,000 meters.
That is high.
Yeah, very high.
Wow.
And it's steep and rocky and sparsely vegetated.
Right.
So all of that together makes them really, really hard to spot.
So their entire environment is kind of made for them to disappear?
It is.
Yeah. And the article also mentions that they're solitary creatures, which
Yes.
adds to the mystique.
It does.
Right.
Yeah, they have these huge territories,
Yeah.
sometimes spanning hundreds of square kilometers.
Oh, wow.
And that's not just about avoiding each other.
Yeah.
It's also a reflection of how scarce the prey is up there.
Right. So they need a lot of territory to hunt in.
Yeah, each snow leopard is basically like ruling a kingdom where resources are really precious.
Right.
And they need that space to be able to survive.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is.
And it makes their adaptations all the more impressive.
Mm-hmm.
We all know about the, thick fur and the wide paws for the snow.
Right.
But what really sets them apart?
One of the most amazing things is their tail.
Okay.
It's so long and bushy that they can wrap it around themselves like a blanket.
Oh, wow.
When they're resting,
For warmth.
yeah, perfect for staying warm in those freezing temperatures.
So it's like a built-in blanket.
It is like having a built-in blanket.
That's incredible.
That cool.
And what about those legendary leaping abilities?
Yeah.
6 times their body length.
It's true.
That's crazy.
It's amazing, and they need that
Yeah.
to hunt.
Yeah, to ambush their prey like blue sheep and ibex on those steep slopes.
Yeah, it's incredible to watch.
I bet.
Imagine that you need explosive power
Yeah.
and precision,
That.
and the snow leopard has evolved to be a master of both.
Wow, a master of both.
Yeah.
That makes them a force to be reckoned with,
Oh, absolutely.
even for those really hardy mountain prey.
Yeah.
But this brings up something in the article that I found a little unsettling.
Yeah.
And it's that sometimes snow leopards will prey on livestock, leading to conflict with herders.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a no-win situation.
Yeah, it's a really tricky situation.
With everyone involved.
Yeah, because you have herders whose livelihoods are threatened
Right.
on one hand, and then on the other you have a magnificent endangered predator
Right.
just trying to survive.
Yeah, it's a moral dilemma, too,
It is.
I
Same.
imagine. Like,
Yeah.
who's right and who's wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finding a balance is key.
It is a delicate balance, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of moral dilemmas,
Yeah.
I was surprised by how much the article dives into the use of snow leopard parts in traditional medicine,
Oh, yeah.
which is such a controversial topic.
It's definitely a reality that we can't shy away from.
Right.
And it does raise some tough questions like,
yeah.
how do we balance cultural practices with conservation imperatives?
Right.
Can we find a way to honor traditions
Mm-hmm.
while safeguarding a species?
Right.
These are not easy questions to answer,
No.
but understanding the motivations behind these practices is a good starting point.
Absolutely, knowledge is power, as they
Yeah.
say. But let's shift gears for a second
Yeah.
to something a little more uplifting.
Right.
The article also highlights the reverence
Yes.
for snow leopards in many cultures,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in Tibetan Buddhism.
Right.
That spiritual connection seems like it must be a really powerful force for conservation.
It is.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, in Tibetan Buddhism, the snow leopard is seen as an embodiment of the mountain spirit,
Wow.
representing strength and resilience.
So powerful.
Yeah. And this reverence isn't just symbolic, it often translates into tangible protection for the animal.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's a powerful force.
So in a way, their cultural significance is kind of like a shield.
It is.
That's-
It's a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And it shows how intertwined conservation is with cultural values and beliefs,
Right.
which we'll explore further as we go on.
So before we move on, why don't we do a quick recap of what we've learned so far about snow leopards? So we've established that snow leopards are masters
Hmm.
of their really harsh environment,
Yes.
not just because of their physical adaptations,
Right.
but also because of their solitary nature, which helps them conserve energy and avoid conflict.
Exactly.
They are apex predators, but sometimes that puts them in direct conflict with humans, which leads to some difficult choices on both sides.
For sure.
And we can't forget about the cultural layer where they are both
It's
revered and
definitely, yeah.
exploited.
Yeah, that's an important point.
A lot of complexity
Yeah.
for one incredible creature.
Absolutely.
But now I'm really itching to know
Yeah.
what is being done to protect them.
Well, that's where things get really exciting.
Okay.
From cutting-edge technology to community-based initiatives, there's a whole arsenal of approaches
Wow.
being employed to safeguard these animals and their fragile habitat.
Okay, I'm all ears. I'm ready.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive in. Okay, so we've laid the groundwork. Snow leopard's incredible.
Right.
Their situation is complex.
Mm.
People are working hard to protect them.
Yeah.
But what does that protection actually look like, when you get down to it?
Well, one of the biggest things that has changed the game is technology.
Okay.
It's allowed us to study snow leopards without disturbing them and gather data that would have been impossible to get
Oh, wow.
even just a decade ago.
Okay, so more than just, those cool photos from
Yeah.
camera traps.
Camera traps are great
Right.
for basic information like population density and range,
Mm-hmm.
but we need more than that
Okay.
to really understand their behavior.
Right.
That's where GPS collars come in.
Ah, GPS collars.
Yeah,
I've always wondered how those work in such a remote area.
they're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We can track their movements across vast distances,
Really?
see how they use their habitat,
Wow.
even monitor their interactions with each other.
So you can really see where what they're doing.
We can.
Wow.
It's credible.
So it's not just about knowing where they are. It's about understanding their lives in a way that can really inform those conservation efforts.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, the data is gold.
But is collaring them stressful?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And it's something that researchers take very seriously.
Yeah.
Collaring is only done when it's absolutely necessary for research or conservation.
Okay.
And the collars are designed to be as lightweight and comfortable as possible.
Okay.
So the data we gain far outweighs the minimal disturbance,
That makes sense.
especially if it helps us save the species.
Right. It's like a calculated risk
It is.
for the greater good.
Yeah.
What other tech tools are being used out there?
Well, genetic analysis is becoming increasingly important.
Okay.
We can track individuals,
Really?
map family relationships,
Wow.
even identify potential inbreeding issues
Wow.
just by analyzing DNA from scat.
Wait, so you're telling me you can get all that just from poop?
We can.
That's some serious CSI stuff.
It is like CSI for snow leopards,
Wow.
and the implications are huge.
Right.
Having a window into their family trees and genetic health,
Yeah.
which is crucial for managing these small, fragmented populations.
Wow. Technology is really giving us a level of understanding that I don't think anyone could have imagined,
I know, it's amazing.
even just a few years ago.
Yeah.
What about the more hands-on aspects of conservation? How
Yeah.
do you actually protect them, especially in areas where poaching or that conflict with herders
Yeah, that's tough.
is a major issue?
Well, that's where community involvement becomes essential.
Okay.
You can't protect a species without the support of the people who share its habitat.
So it's more than just fences and patrols.
It is.
You need people to really buy into the idea that
Yeah.
snow leopards are worth protecting.
Absolutely.
But how do you achieve that when their livelihoods are at stake?
Well, one approach that's been really successful is the creation of community conservancies.
Okay.
These are areas that are managed by local communities,
Okay.
giving them ownership over the land
Mm-hmm.
and its resources.
Mm-hmm. So you're empowering the local communities to sort of become guardians of their own ecosystems.
We are, and it's working.
That's fantastic.
And within these conservancies, you see all sorts of initiatives,
Oh, wow.
from anti-poaching patrols to livestock insurance programs.
Okay, wait, livestock insurance?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
It compensates herders for their losses,
Oh, wow.
so they're less likely to retaliate against snow leopards.
So it's a win-win
It is
for both the community and the snow leopard?
a win-win for everybody.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been really effective in a lot of areas.
Are there any other innovative solutions out there
Oh, yeah.
to prevent the conflict with livestock?
Yeah, some communities are experimenting with predator-proofing corrals,
Okay.
using things like reinforced fencing or flashing lights
To deter snow leopards?
to deter them.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Others are using guard dogs,
Oh.
specifically trained to protect the herds.
Wow. So it's like a blend of traditional knowledge
It is.
and modern techniques
It really is.
working together.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
But we can't forget about poaching, which is
Right.
a whole different set of motivations.
Yeah.
How are conservationists tackling that?
Anti-poaching efforts are a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
You have increased patrols,
Okay.
often using technology like drones with thermal imaging.
Oh, wow. So it's like high-tech surveillance
It is
in the mountains?
Yeah, they can detect poachers in these really remote areas.
Are drones effective, though, in such rugged terrain?
They're proving to be very valuable,
Okay.
especially for covering those vast areas that are difficult to patrol on foot.
Right.
But technology alone isn't enough.
Right. You got to address the demand
Exactly.
for snow leopard parts.
And that's where education and awareness campaigns come in.
Right. So it's about changing hearts and minds, not just catching the poachers.
Yeah, but that can be a long and difficult process,
It can.
especially when you're dealing with cultural beliefs that have been around for centuries.
How do you even begin to approach that conversation?
It takes a lot of sensitivity
Okay.
and understanding of the cultural context.
Right.
Sometimes it might involve working with traditional healers
Okay.
to find alternative remedies,
Oh, wow.
or promoting sustainable livelihood options that provide economic alternatives to poaching.
So it's about offering solutions, not just condemnation.
That's the key.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
It is,
Heck
and
of
that's
a-
why community involvement is so crucial.
Right.
When local people see the value in protecting snow leopards,
Yeah.
that's when real change happens.
Yeah. It's inspiring to see how much effort is going into finding these win-win solutions.
It is.
It makes me really hopeful for the future of the snow leopard.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's not just about saving one species, though.
Right.
It's about recognizing that all life is interconnected
Yeah.
and finding ways to coexist that benefit both humans and the natural world.
That is well said.
And before we move on to the cultural significance of snow leopards, I'm curious, have you ever had a close encounter with a snow leopard?
We've talked about the science and the strategies behind protecting these amazing animals.
Right.
But I'm really fascinated by the cultural side of this story.
Yeah,
You mentioned that in some cultures, they're almost seen as these like mystical beings,
they are.
especially in Tibetan Buddhism.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, they really do embody the essence of those high mountains.
Yeah.
You know, powerful, elusive, a symbol of beauty and danger.
Right.
And they've been woven into mythology and the folklore
But
of those people for centuries.
the article talks about tales of them being protectors,
Yes.
guides, even tricksters.
Mm-hmm.
What impact do these stories have on conservation?
Well, it's complex.
Right.
But in a lot of cases, that reverence really does translate
Yeah.
into actual protection on the ground.
That's amazing.
Like in some areas of Nepal,
Yeah.
the snow leopard is considered so sacred that coaching is almost non-existent. The taboo against harming them is just that strong.
So it's like a shield.
It is.
An invisible shield
Yeah.
that goes beyond the laws
It does.
and regulations.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
But what about the places where the relationship is a little bit more complicated?
Right.
Where there's that constant conflict with herders?
Well, in some cultures, there's this belief that snow leopards are malicious,
Really?
that they kill livestock out of spite rather than necessity,
Wow.
which obviously creates a lot of animosity
Yeah.
and makes conservation efforts really, really difficult.
So how do you change those perceptions?
Carefully
Right.
and with a lot of sensitivity.
Yeah.
You can't just tell people to stop believing something that's been a part of their culture for generations.
Of course not.
But you can work with respected leaders in the community,
Okay.
often religious figures, to reframe the narrative.
Oh, interesting.
So you find common ground
Right.
and highlight those shared values that connect people to nature,
Mm-hmm. Even when there's conflict.
even when there's conflict.
Are there any examples of this actually working?
There's a great program in Ladakh, India,
Okay.
where Buddhist monks are really actively involved in conservation.
Wow.
They've been so important in promoting tolerance for snow leopards
Yeah.
and emphasizing those Buddhist principles of compassion and nonviolence.
It seems like cultural beliefs can be such a powerful force for positive change.
Absolutely.
It's really inspiring.
And it's not just about changing minds.
Right.
It's also about providing solutions.
Practical solutions.
Practical solutions.
I'm glad.
Like we talked about before, predator-proofing corrals guard dogs.
Right.